Thank you for joining us today. This is Shyler Mao. And?
G. Grant, actually.
Oh, man.
And Nathan Cromer.
And Lucas Grassberger.
On the Nick's Boots from Start to Finish podcast. So thank you so much for joining us. We are going to do a Q&A session from Reddit. Great participation from you guys. We may be dodging a few questions. Well, Grant may be dodging a few questions here, but we're gonna try and speak truth and be courageous here.
I just don't know that the listeners can handle the truth on the first question. So
well,
we're gonna skip that one.
Yeah, we're gonna skip that one. And I think we're gonna do a little more research, and we're gonna come back to it. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Okay, Nathan, what is your favorite boot you own and why?
I was actually hoping you'd ask me this. So,
Did you script it out?
no, I just saw it and I was like, I'm wearing them right now. So it's a Builder Pro, 1964 brown smooth, just simple. So I've had a couple different models. I've got
How high?
10-inch classic. Yep. So it's the kind of boot you could get from the Quick Ship.
They're 10-inch, but they look like they're 5 inches on them.
There's nothing special about those boots.
I split the tongue down out of the same leather. I tried it.
man.
I
Totally
wanted to see how well it split.
That
and
is
see if it worked.
prohibited.
It's prohibited.
That is prohibited.
And they're coming apart, right?
You can't even tell. No, it's great. It's
All right.
fantastic.
No, we have a rule. You're not supposed to offer to yourself things that you do not offer to
Even
the
if
most
they're- even if
important
they're
person
hidden?
in the world,
Even
which
if they're
is
hidden?
the customer.
Even if they're totally hidden.
Well, they're not hidden now. He just told everybody about it.
Somebody asked about it.
We are, in a broader sense, we are experimenting with using the, upper and lower leather in the gussets.
Splitting down for tongues.
I did buy another splitter to give us some redundancy there. Like what happens with this is like we use the splitter for like false tongues and other things, and they're kind of finicky. And if it goes down, it's pretty debilitating. So I bought another one so that we could kind of experiment with some of the stuff. So look for that in the future, dear customer. We do hope to be able to do that at some point.
Let's hash this out though further.
No.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Let's hash it out because
No, we're still on question. What is your favorite boot?
My bad.
Favorite boot,
Oh,
yeah.
man. I think my answer just changed about 5 minutes ago when I got
you just got a new one,
these
yeah.
new Munson last hiking boots.
Before this even comes out.
Yeah.
Why do
Well,
you always get the good
Yeah.
stuff? That's my
It'll
question.
be launched by the time this comes out.
we had a
They
size
do look sick.
12 and a half Munson last that we had to try out, and
We
I
had to.
happened to want to order a pair of hiking boots.
What are you going to call it?
Oh, man, I don't know.
We have a couple hours to determine the name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's
a great boot.
pretty extreme research goes into the naming convention.
Oh, yeah,
as you
so
guys
much
can tell.
research. As everyone knows, we're great at naming our
Okay,
boots.
but to this point, you still haven't said what they are.
So it is an 8-inch Weather Shield brown, essentially a ridgeline on the Munson last, with a coyote brown Sierra sole.
It looks pretty sick.
It's awesome.
The colors work really well
I think
together.
it might be the best hiking boot in the world, or at least that we've
I
made.
think so.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's the
agree.
perfect blend of form and
Yeah.
function.
I'd say yes to both.
Before 5 minutes ago, it was my mock toe rebuilds that were uppers.
They're in the dumpster already. I saw you just
Right,
throw them.
right.
You're just like, no, get these out of my sight.
All right, Grant, favorite boot, go.
It's your grandfather's boots, my Roberts. Is that your grandfather?
Yeah, it's one of them. Which?
Yeah.
Predator Orange. I did a video last weekend on my all my boots, and my Urban Loggers and Roberts took the number 1 seat. And I'm a 6-inch boot guy because I am 5 foot 4.5 inches.
Got it. Well, there was an interesting cross post that I put on our subreddit that was on the Goodyear Reddit, which was a comparison of like some upstart brand called Whites and their bounty hunters, and our classic Roberts.
Yeah.
And
Timeless.
I think the Roberts came away the winner, at least with that particular customer. So
What's
that was
a
pretty
bounty
cool.
hunter?
It's like Baker's version of our Urban Lager.
The bounty hunter is essentially their semi-dress, but built on the 55 last.
with a lug, right?
Not always, and it
not
doesn't
always,
have an
okay.
internal heel counter.
I don't actually know very much
So
about Whites.
it's custom
I'm
ordered
actually totally kidding.
specifically through Baker's.
Just to be clear.
Okay.
You can't get to anywhere else.
Gotcha.
White's
Okay.
is a great company.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mine actually changed as well recently. My 8-inch British Tan Urban Loggers, like just locked in. You know
Swept
how that
in.
happens.
yeah.
Like on the break in.
Yeah.
I've been kind of working on it for a
Gosh, I
while.
love it when that happens.
Yeah.
You're
And-
like, no, I'm just giving up on these. I just,
And
you
they
know.
just finally they just hit that threshold, and man, I wore them all weekend. They were super comfy.
You're gonna have to wear them in now.
Yeah, no, I know. My
I wanna see how they're looking.
10-inch Builder Pros, I love them, but they're just, I think they're due for a resole, so they're getting a little short in the heel, if you will. Yeah, no, so that was exciting. Very exciting.
That's good. You think you'll wear them with shorts or no?
8 inches is tough. I think 6-inch. I have 6-inch Howards that I think I could.
Have you tried crane kicking in them?
No.
That's how you truly break in your boots.
I think that's how you break your hamstring.
Or one of the two.
It was close. It was close.
Okay, second question. Hearing some rumors about a Western boot. Any sneak peeks? Can you talk more about your Western roper boots? I'd love to know anything I can about them because I'm extremely excited. Grant, that's kind of your wheelhouse. Will you speak to that, please?
I will. We got a prototype done, a left boot, and we're going just classic Western. We're going classic Western. So it's not gonna start out super fancy. We're not putting the wings on them. We're not doing the snake skin or the pythons. So it's gonna be a very classic blue collar Western pull-on with a Packer heel
It's gonna start as a work boot.
as a work boot, yeah. And then then we'll probably get a little fancy with it. So there's a lot to learn. We're learning, you don't sew them the same way. You flip them inside out. You do all this funny stuff that we're not really familiar with.
But it's a thing of our past, right?
It is, yeah.
It's part of our history.
Yeah, we used to make some pull-ons, and I don't know how far down this rabbit hole we want to go, but are you suggesting that we made them start to finish?
Start to finish.
Start to finish. Okay, yeah. I do know that we bought some uppers from Canada West back in the day, and maybe that's what we used to start, to learn their patterns, perhaps.
It definitely could have been, but
This is like the 90s, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and probably like early, maybe even mid '80s, I think too.
Well, that was which era was that?
I think that was Gary.
Gary,
Yeah,
right?
Gary
yeah,
Myers.
I mean,
Yeah.
Gary Myers, yeah. Okay.
He was kind of a cowboy, so
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely had the influence of a little bit more Western wear
Yeah.
at that point. But our Juki machine actually, rumor has it, used to sew cowboy boots.
Yeah.
So if that sewed cowboy uppers, then
Well, I did buy a big post machine that could be used for those
Nice.
as well. So, I think it's gonna be super cool. But to Grant's point, it will be definitely more work focused, a little more functional.
if you like working in cowboy boots,
If you like
you're
working on
gonna-
cowboy boots, you'll
It's
you'll
the
be
one.
in
Yeah.
the right,
It is
right
the
area.
one. They'll be
I think
beautiful.
someone on our Reddit page actually spotted a pair at like an old Western boot store or
Yeah.
something and posted a picture of
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
Super,
those-
super rare, but they're out there.
Yeah. Those are a little bit more fancy than probably what we'll launch
Yeah.
with. I mean,
Western work, I think, is for sure what we're
Yeah.
going for.
Yeah.
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 Wicked and Craig mocktail option. This person is wondering why we do not offer more Wicked and Craig or a Wicked and Craig mocktail option. The reason is it cuts through. So the leather is so boardy that it essentially creates it cuts through the leather, and so the leather is not resilient enough as of yet in terms of just how we've had it staked and everything to present a clean hole consistently. Obviously, we've been able to do it. It has happened. Like you see them out there. But it is a pretty wasteful process for us because we typically lose 1 to 3 vamps when we do it. And so that's why we're not doing it right now. So it's not as much like a money thing like it was with the Renegades and the toe caps. Like we did make those available last week. Many of you purchased those. We do deeply appreciate that. So we did work through that. But I will say with the mocks and the wickets, there is not a super easy answer on how to get that going. We are working on staking them more so they're a little more, pliable, and so you don't have this series of holes where the kind of cracks run between the holes, which is essentially what happens sometimes
Yeah.
with the mocks. I do think there's some other alternatives. Like we could look at Horween, more of the veg tans from them. The Dublins, the
The Dublins were the opposite.
Yep.
So the Dublins were too soft.
Yep.
And
Bunched a little bit.
But Cypress
Yeah.
wasn't. So that's like why Cypress came out. Cypress was essentially supposed to be the patina of the Dublin, but being a little stiffer and a little easier to work with. So I don't know, man. It's an inexact science.
It's tough. It's one of those things. We have so many options, and a lot of times we don't realize certain things don't match together until we try it.
Yeah.
And that's what this was. Where we tried mock toes on Wicked and Craig, and the leather just split, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the perspective and the feedback, and I do agree they look sick. I'm always like when I see somebody post them, I'm always like kind of annoyed, not at the person, but like at the fact that we can't do it anymore
Yeah.
because how cool is it to promote a product that you can't sell anymore?
Right.
But we're working on it. I do think we'll look at all. It may not be the Wicked, but we'll continue to kind of work on that. Future products pipeline. Do you have an estimate of when your 55 last wedge sole boots will be available for order? Great.
I think they'll be available in about 2 weeks.
Sick.
We're gonna bite the bullet. and
Love
do it.
those. Love
Inside
those.
knowledge.
Love those.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on the thicker midsole option on the Builder Pro? For who and what application is this ideal for?
It's a bit of history. Are you okay if I tackle this one?
We've
for
talked
it.
about this though.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah, we did.
So this
Contender
is
versus Nick,
basically. I'm gonna jam through this a little.
Sure.
Sorry, so
TLDR.
I'm giving you like Tuesday energy, so I apologize. We kind of got a lot going on. But normally do this on Thursday. But the thicker midsole is essentially a way to differentiate the product from maybe some other ones that are out there in the marketplace. Specifically, I think White's was originally how this started out back in the day, basically with our hot shot business versus their smoke jumper business. This was not us. This was kind of an ownership group or two in the past. And so basically kind of similar to like the Contender story, where that was kind of designed to be punching up against some of the bigger dogs in the space. The thicker midsole is basically a way to have a pretty clear way to show that this is a beefier product than maybe some of the competition. It is really biggest in firefighting, and I think there is a use case for it where like, hey, do you want a little more like cushion between you and the ground?
Or more insulation.
More insulation
Yeah.
from heat and that sort of thing. So I think it could be useful. Some people do really like that additional height and just construction. But that's basically it. And it does like all leather. If there's more leather, eventually it will form your foot a little more and provide a nicer bed. Of course, because it does have that additional leather, it takes longer. And so it can feel pretty darn stiff. And I generally say if you're going to be doing something where you're like bending over, like, maybe getting on one knee, that sort of thing, it's maybe not the best fit because it doesn't bend very easily. But if it's something where you're walking a lot and big distances and that sort of thing, I think it can be appealing. I think the interesting thing about it is like it's not stitched through, like it's too thick to stitch through. And we never have issues with it delambing much or anything like that. And so it is a testament to kind of like the strength of our glue and, maybe, how important are some of those mechanical bonds. But anyway, it is a great, it's an option if you want a little extra cushion, a lot of extra cushion on your foot down there. When I inevitably used motor oil, hydraulic oil all over my nice new boots, what's the best way to care for them at the end of the day? Would you clean with saddle soap and re-oil, or just let it soak in and not worry about it like I've always done with cheaper boots? Or perhaps something else? Lucas, what would you do?
So, honestly, Dawn dish soap does a lot.
Okay.
Little dab of Dawn dish soap.
sparingly.
Yeah. Sparingly. But that's kind of my go-to when my boots are like
Yeah,
thrashed.
they put those on baby birds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Know it.
It,
always
Yeah.
impressed.
oil spills.
Oil spills.
And little ducks.
Yeah.
And well, that's a baby bird.
That is a baby.
I thought
Yeah,
it was
I was
more,
thinking- I was
more
thinking, like,
seagulls,
yeah.
wasn't it?
Anyway,
Semantics. But yeah, a little bit of Dawn dish soap, a rag,
Baby seals.
some
I
hot
thought.
water, and that normally works really well. Obviously, typically you want to oil them up afterwards because that Dawn dish soap is going to pull a lot of the oils out.
Yep.
That's normally what I do.
Okay. I think that's a great inside baseball tip right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd probably add to that if they're like heritage boots and you can't get the oil out. Sometimes the best thing to do is to just finish the job.
Add more oil.
So
Jeez.
put a little
Controversial.
everywhere so that you don't have one
Controversial.
little stain.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but if you want your boots to look consistent, sometimes you got to
No,
finish.
that's-
Well,
a great
sometimes
point.
people wreck their boots trying to get that little dot out, and they're trying everything.
Hyper
and-
worried about it.
Wow.
And now
So
it
we have-
spreads,
We have 3 very helpful perspectives. We have use Dawn
which is helpful.
and helpful, and actually, no, I think they're all helpful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
use some conditioner. Then we have Nathan who says, essentially, if you've gone a little bit of the way, go the whole way.
Just lean into
Just
it.
buy more hydraulic fluid and just dip it in there.
Right. Yeah.
And then we have Grant with a cautionary tale that, sometimes if you let, you can let perfection be the enemy of good. And if you have
right.
a little ding on there,
Leave it.
leave it.
Don't touch
Maybe-
it.
Maybe that
You're
just
gonna
makes it look
regret.
like it's got some more character.
It's just a battle scar.
You're gonna regret touching it.
I think those are 3 great perspectives
Yeah.
from 2 very experienced bootmen, as you guys like to call yourselves. Yeah, absolutely.
Bootmen.
You gotta own
That's-
your
That's
ding.
what we are.
On your
What's the deal with not tying the top eyelet after the hooks? If it's not supposed to be laced through there, why not have a pair of hooks installed instead of the eyelets? Or just leave it blank? Well, that's the logger's knot. But then there was another question there, like, why can't we have bigger eyelets so it makes it easier to tie
Yeah.
the logger's knot, which I
Yeah.
thought was an interesting perspective.
That's coming.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you just saying that?
No.
That's the bucket.
I've never
We
heard
have-
of that.
we have a
Is
little
that really happening?
There's a little project in the
Oh,
works.
sick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a little something. something.
Yeah. Old Canadian logging boots they had these giant eyelets.
Okay.
We call them cartoon. They look cartoony. But
So the reason, just to quickly answer the question, it's called the logger's knot, and it's basically a way to reduce the chances of your leather laces coming undone over time.
Yeah.
You can look it up online. I think we have it on our blog as well. But I'm sorry, Grant, keep going. You've got a new exciting product coming.
no, we're gonna. We're gonna do
Oh,
a
the big eye-
collab. A
the big eye boot?
collabor.
The
Yeah.
big eye boot?
The big eye. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna do a collaboration with somebody up in Vancouver, and kind of replicate a little bit some of
Cool.
the
Very
cool
cool.
old school
Vintage
vintage,
inspiration.
which is interesting
Yeah.
because none of those old logging boots had hooks. So some of the real
Small
old
lines,
school
yeah.
loggers are like, hooks are dumb. Your laces fall off.
Yeah.
So,
It's
but
true.
it's a
My
great.
laces fell off this weekend.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On
Well-
the urban drifters, or
On my loggers, my
Oh.
urban loggers. Yeah.
you didn't do a loggers knot
I didn't.
in your urban loggers?
No.
Wow.
I know.
Well, that's the thing. Even though the eyes aren't big enough, if you lace it through that top eye, tie the knot, you have a much lower chance of it just coming unraveled.
Is it a height thing? Because I don't understand.
so-
my 10-inch ones, they never fall off. I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever happened. But with my 8-inch, it does. It can happen occasionally.
Makes sense. Closer to the bend point maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, anytime I'm going on like a hike or anything, I've got my 8 or 10-inch boots.
I mean, it doesn't happen a lot.
I'll lace it through that top eye and tie it nice and tight, and
I don't think I've ever.
I don't have a tail
yeah.
following me.
Why not go hooks all the way?
Because then if your knot comes undone, then it's just gonna unravel all the way down the boot.
Okay.
So I personally,
I'm
that's
a half
my
and half
use case
guy.
for
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
I'm gonna offer a third perspective. I wrap around the back of the boot, come
there you
back
go,
to the
yeah.
Yeah,
front,
I've seen that.
Yeah.
and I've never had an issue.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Well, you look.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look great.
Thanks.
I know what
Okay.
I do.
Can you perhaps offer a bundle of small leather swatches to help customers better choose from your amazing leather options? I have some bundles of swatches from Buckle Guy to help me with some leathercraft projects, and I know this would be a hit. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Sure.
We could definitely do it. In fact, Luke has found a cool little triangle die, and he's made little swatch booklets.
How
of
big?
their
How
different-
big do you think they need to be useful?
I'd rather do big ones.
Well,
Yeah.
but then it's like, well, why not just sell like a kilty bundle?
Yeah,
It's essentially
yeah.
the same thing.
That's the thing. Is like you can buy a kilty bundle, and then you can use the swatches afterwards. Whereas if we're just selling swatches, then what do you do with the swatches afterwards? You hang
right.
them up.
Well, you do a little DIY kit, so they can make something out of the
Have them turn
swatches.
into like a little.
little lighter case.
Yeah.
DIY grant.
That's an interesting.
Well,
idea.
we do skive the kilties.
That's true. So you can't get a true representation of the rough
So maybe
out.
we don't skive. I don't know. I don't know. We can experiment with
It's a
it.
good idea.
No, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Will the limited edition Luke Larson 64 be offered as a standard run in different leathers? It's a beautiful looking boot.
It is a beautiful looking boot.
Grant's
yeah.
looking at me for an answer. Yeah. No, I think
The
I think
answer
we
to
will.
this is yes.
yes. Yes.
And it will be expanded to additional leathers.
I was looking
Yes.
at Shyler for the answer. Not you.
I think the issue currently is that all of those 5-inch boots are going to be hand cut because we don't have dies for a 5-inch boot.
Yeah, but
because
we
Luke made the
never
boot
get
himself.
the dies when we launch something anyway.
Trimmed off
True.
the
We're
top.
just getting Chelsea
True.
boot dies.
That's a great point. But
so
yeah,
I mean,
it
if we
will
could
be
tighten that up,
offered.
that'd be pretty sick. but-
Probably not with the vintage stamp, and may or may not have matching gusset leather like the Luke Larson boot does, depending on where we get with that. But
Depends on our
that's fair.
splitter situation.
yeah,
That's a great boot.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It is.
It's beautiful.
We'll probably 55 it as well.
So you guys are doing matching gusset leather with the Wicket?
Just
No,
the
no.
Luke boot because that's what
I know,
his
but
boot
with the
is.
Luke?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't
Yeah.
know you guys. They do a lot without me knowing.
Well, no,
That's interesting.
that's just what Luke did, and so
you
the
guys ask me
photos,
questions on Reddit, and I have no idea.
the photos show it. So it's either trying to explain away that we did it once and we won't do it again.
How much?
or-
I mean, we should be charging like $1 million for that thing.
I think it's like $1 or $2 shy of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
It's like 6.4 million.
Okay.
yeah, it's like 9,999.
It's a nice, that's a nice little package right there.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
That's crazy. We've sold 50 of them or so.
35.
35 I meant.
Yeah, almost sold out.
Easy to sell
Dang.
them.
Well, get them while you can.
so
man.
good.
Yeah.
Get them while you can. Okay. All right. That's any final thoughts, Kelsey? Would you like to say anything?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
I think it's worth talking. It's going to be launched at this point, but about the Munson last, that's coming out today as of filming this, and it'll be out by the time you guys.
Yeah,
hear
and that will be
this,
available in Heritage, Work, 55s, HWs.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's a game changer. So we're using
Yeah.
the actual Munson last for our lower heel, lower arch profile.
Yep.
It's the
And
classic
then-
last, timeless. Yeah.
And then we have pretty much created a mix between the 55 and the Munson.
Yep, and we did put some R&D into this. It's not. I don't know. There was some posts that I saw that was kind of about how maybe there's not as much research and development that goes into some of these PNW lasts, and I would say there was quite a bit that went into this one. So I hope you give it a shot. We did measure and have confirmed and spec'd to be very similar to the 55, but not identical. Obviously, there's just quite a bit more room in the toe. But from a sizing standpoint, it should be pretty darn similar. Everybody's been in the same size
Yep.
effectively.
Yep.
And honestly, I wouldn't call it a weird feeling. It's this like free feeling in your forefoot, like,
I'll be honest,
talk about alliteration, by the way, but also like,
Yeah.
it just feels like I kind of take it for granted.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've been sitting here just wiggling my toes the whole time because
Yeah, it's nice.
it fits exactly
It's
the
nice.
same, but my pinky toes just have all the
It splays
room
out.
in the world.
Yeah.
Well, like even compared to an athletic shoe, like an athletic shoe definitely crowds your
Yeah.
smaller
Yeah.
toes,
Pushes them in.
and this one does not. It's
Yeah.
a nice feeling, and I think everything has its place here, obviously, but hopefully this will, be another tool in kind of the fitting toolbox and the foot shaped toolbox out there, and we can.
What are our sizing plans?
So I think currently we have 5 to 15. DEEE is what we have.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Available.
people.
It's going to
Yeah.
probably cover like over
Yeah.
90% of feet out there.
Yeah.
But even as Shyler said, it's about in circumference around, like the big toe, small toe area. You have about an extra half an inch of circumference there without sacrificing that fitment of your actual width.
Yep.
So it should fit similar around the ball of the foot, but you're going to get a little bit more toe room. Should be some more comfort there
Yep.
for people that normally have toe rub. So
Yep.
Which begs the question. Historically, where did we get all these narrow-toed, shoe lasts?
Cowboys.
I mean, I think it was
Yeah.
probably the cowboy boot industry bled into the logging boot industry, and but all the while we knew our servicemen and women did not want their toes, smashed in their boots. So,
Well, let's not exaggerate this. I mean, the 55 fits
Yeah.
tens of thousands of people beautifully, including yours truly.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is a question of better or worse or anything like that.
no, it's
It's
interesting.
just different.
Yeah.
You know? So some people have a little different foot,
Yeah.
and like if you got a long pinky toe, and I think if you do, you know what I mean. Then the Munson
Yeah.
would be
Yeah.
a good fit for you. But you know, the 55 works great for a lot of people too.
And I'll be honest, the Munson lasts are not nearly as aesthetically pleasing as
Yeah.
our 55 or H&W. It's a little bean shaped,
yeah.
which
I think it looks great.
Some people would
I think it
would
looks
love
great.
it, but
no, I
you
think
know,
it looks great. I think it's a
there's-
vibe, and,
yeah.
and beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't think we should be like the arbiters of like what's good and what's bad for people.
No,
You know?
different
You're-
use cases, different preferences.
If you're a fan of like barefoot toe splay shoes, this is
Oh, yeah.
pretty similar to that.
Yep.
It's got a really natural toe
I'm
splay.
excited to try it,
Yeah.
It feels great.
but you guys didn't order a C width, so
He's got so many boots. I was just like,
I started at 4. I didn't get any 3s.
nice.
can we end this right now?
We'll do a
All
children's
right.
line soon.
We're gonna, on that note, we're gonna sign off with Nathan taking a shot at Grant, which is perfect.
Good, yeah.
I think you took a shot first
Did I on what?
in the intro. No,
What was it?
I don't know.
Oh, tail of the tape. Let's go. All right.
I
Well,
don't
unfortunately,
We'll have to
we recorded
review that,
this.
yeah.
Rewind the episode. and
But hey, thanks guys for joining us. Appreciate our quick rundown here. We'll have some more of these out in the next couple weeks, and thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.